Hey guys, what is up? It is me, Pagey, here once again with another video on just the Arrowverse as a whole, but also just the DCTV stuff as a whole, and our good old mate, John Diggle. Yeah, we're talking about him again. Of course, last season, throughout all the Arrowverse shows, we had David Ramsey guest star on all but one of them as John Diggle, with him appearing as Bass Reeves on Legend of Tomorrow, who was like an actual historical cowboy guy. But in the Arrowverse shows, it continued for the most part his journey that started at the end, or right at the end, or towards the end of the Arrow series finale, which is, of course, when a strange box crash landed in front of him when he was moving to Metropolis, with it containing a glowing green object, which of course got us very excited. Now on the Flash mainly, but also to a degree Supergirl as well, they directly push this story forward, with Batwoman bringing up these head pains he was receiving following the Arrow finale that he was going to see a specialist on, which then played out in front of us, and Cecile got to experience them as well on the Flash. But since his last appearance on Supergirl, which was a long time after, I think the next one before that was maybe Superman and Lois. There was a big gap because of Supergirl's weird airing schedule. But yeah, since that last appearance, it was made pretty clear his journey was, moving to the next stage. And we've been wondering, like, well, when does that next stage start for us, the audience? When do we get to see it continue? And well, it already started. We didn't get the invitation, it just, the party started. So on Batwoman this week, David Ramsey guest starred as Diggle, which wasn't a surprise. It was out in the press release and everything like that. But I don't think many people were expecting anything really major to happen, as it just seemed his appearance was more to have a familiar face in a role specifically for this episode, so they didn't have to make people care about some new random character for a side story just for one episode. And this role that he came in and did was assisting. Anyway, I'll say it, but it's assisting Batwoman's mother in reversing Batwoman's brother from becoming the next Joker. Yeah, I didn't take anything illegal before saying that. It's that's just pretty much what's going on over in Gotham, just to keep it pretty simple. But towards the end of the episode, we have Diggle approach Luke Fox while he is at his father's, Lucius Fox's grave, where Diggle had given him the box that contains the Green Lantern ring, and he gave Luke the box because it hasn't been opening for Diggle. He's been trying to open it and just not opening. Now, Luke tried various pieces of tech to get it open, but Luke believes there has to be another way to open it, something outside of tech, something along the lines of, I guess, how it originally opened for Diggle in the first place in the Arrow series finale. Because at that moment in the Arrow series finale, it just opened for Diggle, without the need for any tech. You just open it, got to look at it and go, wow, this is really green. And it seems that Diggle knows that that is the case. And I'll let you watch the clip right now so you can see it for yourself, whether you haven't seen it at all or you just want to rewatch it, but here it is.
Sorry, man. I tried, but I can't get it open.
Damn it. Got that same lie from Argus. Figured I had a fighting chance with their bat tech.
To be honest, I don't actually have access to our best resources at the moment, but from what I can tell, the technology used on a transmatter cube probably isn't from around here, is it?
Which is why I appreciate you keeping this between us.
How'd you get it open last time?
Well, that's the problem. I didn't do anything, it just opened for me.
So maybe the key to opening that box isn't based on science, human or otherwise. Maybe it's something else entirely.
Yeah.
Now, heading into those guest appearances last season across the shows like The Flash, Supergirl, Batwoman, and Superman and Lois, it was said that Diggle had rejected the offer presented to him in the Arrow series finale, whether it was that he didn't want it at all, he just didn't feel like he was ready. So that's why he was getting those head pains and all of that, because he'd rejected it and he wasn't accepting it. So it makes you wonder whether he now wants to accept the offer that was presented to him, I guess 2 years ago now. And it could be thanks to his experience on these shows and everything like that. Or he just noticed it's not opening anymore for him. Like maybe he was always just playing with the box and opening it or something like that. And the offer has been withdrawn from the other side, which would presumably be the Guardians of Oa. Now, we did get news over the past 2 weeks roughly, alongside something else we'll bring up later on, that David Ramsey had signed this overall directing contract for the Arrowverse shows going forward, with these directing, gigs also including guest appearances throughout the Arrowverse. Now, we don't know if he is going to be showing up on any of the other Arrowverse shows this season. That hasn't been said, it hasn't been advertised or anything like that. We just know that he directed the most recent episode of Superman Lois, episode 2. He directed that, and he directed an episode of Batwoman earlier, and then he guest starred this week. That's all we know so far. In regards to Batwoman, in regards to this guest appearance, which was the one the only one we knew of, we only found about this guest appearance, I think it was about a month ago. It might have even been less. It might have been like 3.5 weeks ago. So short time frame before that we actually knew he was showing up, and then it aired this week. And we're still like 6 weeks away or something from the Flash coming back. So there is a good chance he could be on the Flash later this season, or maybe even Superman Lois. We don't know. Or even Legends. Well, actually, probably not Legends, because Legends only has a few weeks left, so probably not Legends. But Superman, Lois, and Flash, he could definitely be on an episode later this season. And of course, we know that Diggle loves showing up on the Flash, so it wouldn't be too much of a shock if he was to rock up in Central City for an episode where we could see the follow-on from what just happened in Batwoman. Maybe he takes the box to Star Labs to get it checked out, because they might have, well, they should have better technology than Luke Fox. But this brings up a pretty important question, and that's, where does this lead? Where does this lead from this point? Whether it is that he appears on The Flash or Superman and Lois again this season, or just going forward into the future of Diggle as a character. Well, I'll leave the obvious one till the end. So the future guest appearances, as I said, we don't know if he's going to show up later this season on some of the other shows. But as I also said, we only knew about this Batwoman one 3 weeks ago. 3.5 weeks ago or something like that. So there's a short time frame. So that's a wait and find out. I guess we'll know within a month of the episode's airing, or the episode airing with Diggle, if he's going to show up, whether he actually is showing up. So we can't really put too much time and thought into that one, because we don't know. Another one that a lot of people bring up is the next crossover whenever they do it. Now, I would be shocked if there isn't a crossover at the end of this year, or towards the end of this year, at the beginning of the next season of the shows. So in end of October, no, not end of November, they usually are. End of November, beginning of December. I'd be surprised if there isn't one, because we'd assume that, they'd want to make one. They're such a big thing, and they weren't able to do it last season. We got a mini thing on The Flash this season with Armageddon, but it still wasn't crossover levels, or sort of halfway between a normal storyline and a crossover storyline. So I'm sure they'd be desperate to do a crossover. So we could see it play out there. It's just whether they want to make Diggle's journey the focus of it, or a main part of it. They might want to do something else. The obvious one is, as I was saying before, we got that news about him getting the directing contract and the guest appearances and everything like that. Well, that little piece of news was attached to the main piece of news, which was this new Arrowverse show that's in development called Justice U, where David Ramsey is going to be the star of it. He's going to be the main character, and he's also going to direct the pilot if it gets picked up. Now, the fact that he's attached to direct, and it's set in the Arrowverse, it's got Diggle as the main character, I'd be very, very surprised if this show is not picked up, because it just seems like an obvious one to do. But of course, this show revolves around Diggle being sort of a mentor to 5 teen metahumans that go undercover. They're not going to an X-Men type school. It's like a 21 Jump Street. They go to an actual university, and they're undercover as freshmen. So I don't know what the first season is going to be wholly about, completely about, might I say. I'm assuming that there's going to be something sus going on at the university, and that's why they're going undercover specifically there. But we could see his story continue in that Justice U thing, or maybe he has accepted it. He's accepted that role that was offered to him, and that's why he's now leading this show. That's obviously a wait and find out, but the big thing with this Justice U show is that once it gets past the season 1, I don't see season 2 continuing with them being undercover at a university. I think it will progress into something else, where maybe it turns into an X-Men or Young Justice type show with Diggle and maybe even guest stars, guest characters from the past in the Arrowverse that are these senior heroes, like your Black Canary or a Ray Palmer Adam or something like that. They can be on that show, not as, full-time characters, but as guest roles for 1 episode or 2 or 3 episodes or something like that. And that's where the show will go, but Diggle will always be that leader. It just really matters with him being that leader, whether he's accepted that complete offer and he has, actually has powers via that green object in the box. That's obviously the big question going forward. But I think we should learn more about this probably in the next month or so, because as I said, Flash is back in about 6 weeks. And then Superman will also be playing its season out as well. And if, Diggle's going to be in an episode, we'll get press releases and everything like that. So hopefully within the next month or so, maybe month and a half, we'll learn more about this. But we know that he's meant to be making more guest appearances in the future before this Justice U show. So it just matters where and whether they continue the story as well. But I'd assume they would if they bothered to do all this stuff on Batwoman. But yeah, guys, thanks for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, it'd be awesome if you could drop a like on it to show your support. Let me know in the comment section down below your various opinions on all of this. Do you like where they're going, the Diggle thing? Do you think they continue it mainly in the Justice U thing, or do you think they could set it up beforehand on some of these other guest appearances on the other shows if they want to do that? But yeah, let me know your thoughts and theories and predictions and stuff in the comments. And of course, if you are new to the channel, make sure to subscribe. And yeah, I'll catch you guys later. Goodbye.